This allegations against Diddy, they get worse and worse every single day. And then a new wrinkle, Cassie, who was a longtime on and off girlfriend of Diddy, who's alleged. And by the way, if you have young kids in the car, let you take a few seconds to turn down the radio. 3, 2, 1 to turn it down. Okay. But it's been accused of rape, gang rape, physical abuse, drug running.
Did he also, and I might be getting this confused with a different story, but was Cassie underage when she first started dating Diddy? Was that part of it?
I can't remember. I can't remember if I think that maybe right with Cassie, but there are allegations from people who said when they first met Diddy, they were 17 or they were 16. But she signed an NDA when they settled out of court recently. But then there's a new report saying that she is speaking to authorities. And so we're going to ask that question to our official attorney, like, wait a minute, if you have an NDA, how can you speak to authorities about the thing you settled on? Also, if you're just catching up, all of his homes were raided, P. Diddy's, and it's in connection with Homeland Security investigation for sex trafficking, sexual assault, and solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. Even J-Lo is being brought into it as a potential gun runner.
Which, by the way, I mean, when your homes are raided, that's when you know that there are some serious things that are going on. And
not just allegations. Yeah. They already are gathering enough proof to have probable cause to raid a home.
And both of his sons were arrested. Now, I don't know if that was because they didn't want them to be in the house and hide evidence, but this is major.
They were putting. I don't think they're officially arrested. But they're putting handcuffs. You're right. Putting handcuffs because they don't know. They don't know who everyone is, and I think they said that's protocol.
And
I think.
To a quick Google, Cassie was 19 and Combs was 37 when they first met.
But
that's pretty.
And there's allegations from men saying that that he assaulted them sexually, or he was grooming them for other celebrities he had access to that were gay or bisexual, and that's not illegal, that part, but the sex trafficking, obviously the gun running, the drug running, obviously the abuse, the physical abuse, all that is. We do have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, on. Good morning, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, some terrible stuff every day. It seems like it does. It gets worse, and then you don't know what's real and what's not. I see all these reels now on like Instagram and TikTok about Diddy, and like his bodyguard posted one that I just saw late yesterday, where he supposedly was recording him having sex with another man, and it was very graphic. And the guy said that it was years and years ago, and he said that when it first happened, he tried to do like a money grab on Diddy with it, and nobody believed him. And he's like, yeah, now y'all all believe me, right?
So this bodyguard said he filmed Diddy engaged in...
he recorded audio recording. He said he stood outside the bedroom door and recorded him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just, who knows? You don't know what to believe anymore. But what's clear is, the homes were raided. And like Katie was saying, they don't do that without probable cause. So they've got something on him, something pretty big probably. And like you said, there's... even though I don't think it was Cassie, there's another young lady that said at 17 she was drugged and transported across states, multiple state lines, and taken to a location where multiple men took turns raping her.
Oh my gosh, horrible.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of allegations of, kind of roofie type, stuff with people. There have been a lot of comparisons drawn to Jeffrey Epstein and to Bill Cosby. With Epstein, he always, he tried to surround himself with all these powerful, business people and politicians. And Diddy, did the same thing. He had security that was very, like highly decorated law enforcement people that worked security around his premises. But a lot of times they would end up quitting because, like the guy that audio taped him, he said, I couldn't take this anymore, but he was like, I had to capture the reason I left in case there was ever any trouble. And then he said, and then I tried to get some money for it, and just nobody would even listen to him back then.
Yeah. Like, is that in a form of blackmail or just?
I think he may have been trying to like negotiate, a severance or something, but not in the most above board way. It didn't sound like. But
and you've taught us how to do that legally.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, exactly. There's ways to do this.
Now, Lisa,
but,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, most of the time, these celebrities like this, they have people sign a non-disclosure. Like Taylor Swift is very common. Everybody does it. Anybody that comes into their world has to sign a non-disclosure. But it has long been held that you cannot use a non-disclosure to prevent people from testifying or just even giving evidence, giving statements in a criminal investigation.
That's
against public policy. It's never been okay to do that.
The non-disclosure was signed before that, though. So if, let's say Cassie agreed, and a non-disclosure means you can't say anything about information, she could have got money or something like that for it, which is legal, I guess. But that was before this type of law enforcement play. Now that the law enforcement play is in place, is she still bound to that?
No, you can never use a non-disclosure as a shield to prevent people from testifying against you in a criminal matter. It's against public policy.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, no, and it's a gray area. The cases go both ways on whether or not you can use it to prevent someone from pursuing a civil matter, because it is typically used in a civil settlement that you sign some sort of non-disclosure. So those are usually upheld if it was a part of a civil settlement. But
not
if you
before.
But if you just happened to be required to sign a non-disclosure and then somebody came along and, did something bad to you in the course of your dealings with them, then it's kind of split. But there's actually, just this past year, Congress passed a federal law that says that a non-disclosure can never be used if someone was sexually assaulted or abused. It can never be used against them to prevent them in civil or criminal. So they expanded it if it's a sexual abuse allegation.
Good.
How about murder?
Well, it's illegal.
Well, murder's a criminal.
Yeah.
That's a criminal.
I mean, not in Jason's world. Jason was at P. Diddy's house, for the record.
Yes, I was.
And a very big party during the Super Bowl, and Russell Simmons was there.
Let me ask you this, Lisa. 2 questions, but one with Jason. We talked about this off the air, but if Jason, let's just say, there's allegations that happened on that Super Bowl weekend where Jason was at that party, and they go through the records of the people who set up the party, and they realize that Jason was an attendee. Is it possible he could be questioned in this investigation?
I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, I remember from what Jason said about it, I don't think anything funky was going on at that party. So
that's what he said.
If they, if they get, if they do a little homework and they realize that was not one of his, his wild orgy parties or whatever, then chances are you won't be. But it certainly is possible. You could be if they just are investigating every single event.
It's very possible that something was going on that I just didn't notice and pay attention because it was so the atmosphere was so foreign to me, being at P. Diddy's house with famous rappers, Russell Simmons there. I mean, there was a bunch of people there in the pools and the hot tubs and all that when the Super Bowl was on this big screen. I didn't notice anything. I was more concentrating on not making a fool of myself, which I ended up doing anyways. But that's another thing.
And I also want to ask you this, Lisa. J-Lo has been mentioned. Well, they were arrested together about 20-some years ago for some gun charge, and they got dropped. But there's accusations that she might have been a gun runner for P. Diddy. If that's the case, is there a statute of limitations for that? And then if proven, I mean, could she be facing like felony charges?
Yeah, I mean, there's typically, it depends on the state, if it's a state or federal. If it's a federal charge, there's typically not going to be a criminal statute of limitations that it would expire on gun running. There used to be a lot of statutes of limitations on criminal convictions, and a lot of those have been removed, especially on really serious crimes. So I doubt that there is one. It would depend on where the jurisdiction lies, but assuming that there is no statute of limitations issue and they prove it, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter, as long as she knew. I mean, it couldn't be that he duped her into doing it, and I mean, that certainly happened.
Well, the allegation is that Jennifer Lopez carried a firearm into the club for Diddy, and then she passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with somebody else. That's the allegation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would really, I mean, gun running is typically for the sale of firearms, and it typically involves like importing, crossing state lines, violating gun sales laws and things like that. So it may be that unless it was, just it'd be a much lesser charge, I would think, and it could be that it would only fall under a state jurisdiction where there might be a statute of limitations.
Yeah, because that's when they were arrested originally, right, Katie?
That was originally.
But then I've heard in addition to that, she did gun running. That was separate.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. There's all these different headlines. It's hard to know exactly what's true and what's not. But
gun running is typically like you have a boat cooler in the back of your car and full guns. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like a former Syracuse basketball player that's been apparently a drug runner for him allegedly, and across state lines, and he's doing it. Yeah, it's just like it's every major crime you can think of, he's being accused of. Mm-hmm. And again, I know we talked to you last week. You said obviously it seems there's a lot of fire, there's a lot of smoke, and there could be fire here. And obviously, if he were found guilty, he could go to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah. I was just listening last night to Chris Hansen, who's now on Fox News. I'm not a huge Fox News fan, but I like Chris Hansen.
Lisa,
he was breaking down, kind of his take on the whole thing. And he said, look, I think the guy just got drunk with power, and you become untouchable, and you start to just not see right from wrong. You don't care. It's just all pleasure, whatever. And it's new heights, kind of like what I was telling you last week, new heights of what it takes to find pleasure in things. And it's sad. I mean, if it's all true, it's really sad, especially for these victims. 17-year-old, oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's so many different, and even like Cassie as an adult, just the physical abuse allegations and from other women. Of course, the sex trafficking is horrible as well, but the detailed physical abuse is just gut wrenching.
And then felt like she couldn't say a word. I mean, couldn't say anything about it.
Yeah, pulp. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gosh. All right, you're the best. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning, Lisa Lanier. If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.